All right, we are live. So this is Sam, and this is the YouTube channel Chalice and Chains. And I am super excited to be running Uncharted Worlds, space opera powered by the apocalypse, written by Sean Gomez. This will be my first game GMing in 2016, so I'm super happy to be doing that. And first time at all with an apocalypse engine game, so we'll see. And I think we've got 3 out of 4 players who've never played this system before either, so it's going to be good, hopefully, or it could be a total disaster. So we'll see. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick it over to the players, let them introduce themselves, their characters. If you guys have any, YouTube channels, projects, whatever you want to plug, feel free. Otherwise, jump in to your introductions. So I think I will start with Jesse.
I'm Yodel. Why? Because y'all holler my name from the mountaintops. I'm here because you need somebody who can work the computer, the thing that y'all best not touch. Whatever you need done on the ship, if it's electronic, me, you, buy. That's it.
Awesome, awesome. And Justin, if you want to go next.
Yeah, so my character is Ito Tanigawa, who is a regimented academic explorer, and his job is a lost investigator at Firestar Amalgamated. So he was raised by the company and has been trained his entire life to be a lost investigator. So he is along trying to recover the company's property.
Perfect, perfect. Alrighty. And Nathan.
I am playing Lavrenti Korolov. You guys can call me Larry if you want to. I am an industrial scoundrel. I'm basically belt trash. I lived my life in podunk stations and slapdash belt mining rigs, making my living, keeping the air pumps going, and scrounging for platinum and other heavy metals where I could. I took this job basically because it was a paycheck and I'm constantly broke.
Alrighty. And last but not least, Steven.
Hi, my name is Steven. My character is Sang Hu, and she's a monk of a faith that worships the core of the core of the worlds, and she's also a part-time miner. Before she started out, she's huge. She's a big lady, and she came here on request from the church that she's a part of, to rescue several miners who are part of the church.
Awesome, awesome. And before we jump in, just a real quick note, this setting is based somewhat on the sci-fi channel show The Expanse. So we are in Earth's solar system, right now in the asteroid belt past Mars. And as of now, so far we only have explored our own solar system. There is no exploration out to any other planets just yet. I've put up some of the factions here that we may encounter today. Firestar Amalgamated is the company that has sort of sponsored this mission, so to speak. They want to find out what happened to their lost miner. And since Sang is somewhat of a pilot and a starfarer, I would say your ship has been graciously voluntold to go on this mission. Although you guys have all been promised a nice reward, and if you're able to recover any of the cargo or the salvage, you will be cut in on that as well, as the company would not want a total loss. So any profit that they can make at this point, they're more than happy to share with you. But that being said, Sang, you have been piloting the ship, and you guys have been traveling now for a little over a day or two. you have the ability to do small jumps within the system, but as you get into and closer to the asteroid belt, you've had to, slow that down and fly manually, fly at sublight speed. And as you've kind of made your way into this asteroid belt, you start to get this just sense of foreboding. Something almost a supernatural sense is just tingling, right? Like something feels off here, and you're not quite sure what it is. But you're sitting in the cockpit, and you've been, sort of fiddling with the scanners. And I would say that, Yodel, you've probably been kind of boosting those and trying to really kind of assist with that, getting everything, very clear on the scopes. And you guys do pick up the little ping, ping of the transponder of the Firestar mining ship. And as you kind of survey the vid screen on your on your screen there, you'll notice that it is almost docked up onto an asteroid, which makes sense. But you're not getting any scanner readings. You're not getting any power readings. In fact, you're even surprised that the transponder is still on. And as you kind of get into visual range, you kind of come up, and the light on your ship kind of illuminates this mining ship. And the way these mining ships work, it's basically it's a class 1 ship, so they don't have jump access. They're basically a hull around this giant mining laser with like a tractor beam type thing to suck the the chunks of rock or ice or whatever into the cargo bay. And when it gets full, it comes out, and then usually there is a ship that it will dock with, or there is some sort of jump station that it can dock with, and then go back to home base. There's a decided lack of that. There is no jump ring. There has been no ship out here for a while, so that's odd. And as you come up on the ship, you can actually get a visual of it now outside of your view screen. So, Saying, tell me what you see about this ship, what you notice, your first impressions, and what is something that stands out to you that might be setting off your spidey sense, so to speak.
Well, I can see there's a big chunk out of it. Like part of it's just gone. It doesn't look like there's it's been torn apart. It just looks like it was never there. Like it was almost like it disappeared, or if went into a transport or something like that.
Okay, so definitely it's been there's a hole in the side of the ship, but it doesn't necessarily look like breaching charges or like it smashed into the asteroid. You can't ascertain how that happened, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So you see this, and I'm going to kick it over to Yodel. Yodel, where would you be located in the ship? Are you kind of up in the helm, so to speak, on sort of a comm array, or would you be somewhere else in the ship?
I'd be up in. I was looking at the Class 2 ships. The only thing that really makes sense is for me to be up in the front where the pilot is. Sort of like in an airplane, they've got the communication thing to the right behind the pilot. I'm guessing that's where I am.
Okay. And so you can also now see this outside the viewport, although your scanners were kind of giving you somewhat of a digital version of the same thing that you can see with your eyes. But you can tell that Saying is agitated, right? That she's feeling really kind of uneasy about this whole thing. So I would imagine you kind of look out and you see this same thing. And how do you react to this situation?
Lady, I don't know what's making me more nervous, the hole in that ship or your twitch. What's going on?
I don't know. It's just... this feels strange.
Yeah, no kidding, no doubt. I want to... So we didn't... There was the... We're getting the ping, but I'm not picking up any energy in the ship at all? No juice?
No, yeah, it seems like all the systems are powered down. You're not seeing any lighting. You're not seeing anything. They're not even, sparks or anything like that coming off the ship. I mean, it looks like a total ghost ship at this point.
Is there any way for me to try and connect to whatever device is sending out the ping?
Yeah, absolutely. That I would say. Ooh, now it's my first chance to trigger a move. I would say it's face adversity. Well, no, actually, let's do assessment. Unless you guys think it should be something different. Yeah, so do assessment, and then I would say roll interface. So plus interface.
Okay. So what is am I using my deduction skill?
No, you would be using. Well, I think you'd be using your sensor array to try to pick up any kind of information that you can, right?
Right. The deduction skill, the way I read it, when you first witness the situation, you may ask one of the following questions. The GM will answer honestly. Who or what is the most vulnerable, is the most dangerous, or caused this situation? So I was kind of looking at it like it was for when I was in a system, not,
Yeah.
Well, there's one of the basic moves is access. Gain access to a protected system or network.
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, what do you guys think? I wasn't thinking so much that you were trying to hack into the ship, more as just kind of scan it and ascertain. But I mean, I suppose were you trying to sort of get into that system and find? Oh, okay. Then yeah, then absolutely. Then that would be access. So yeah, you'd roll plus interface.
I'm trying to use that as sort of an entryway into the system.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so go for it.
2d6 plus interface.
Yeah.
So a 5 and a 6 plus 2.
Oh yeah. So
are those rolls showing up on your screen as well?
Yep, I can see them. Absolutely. So you kind of hack in, and I would imagine. Well, actually, tell me how you kind of ascertain this system. What you find is that there is a beacon, right? And this beacon is, standard beacon that you'd have on any of these ships, giving out a tracking signal so that another ship could come and find it. It's odd because nothing else is powered up. But go ahead and tell me what you find out. Why that's the case.
Man, what? This thing's not connected to anything. It's got its own battery. What? This thing ain't part of the ship.
And Saying, how would you react to this at this point? To hearing that.
I'd say I'm confused. I say an independent system. Why would you have that for such a ship like this?
Somebody bolted it on. It's not exactly standard. Comes with the air conditioning and the power windows.
And so at this point, you guys are now basically at a point where the ship, I mean, you would be coming in if you were going to enter this ship. You're in range at this point. And so before we do that, I'm going to kick it over to Ido. Where are you in the ship right now, and what are you doing?
So I've got a I've got a survey kind of station. So it's got topography displays, and it's got like some probe launchers. So I'm imagining I'm probably maybe on one of the sides of the ship, kind of the side front of the ship where there's like a launch tube for the probes, and I can probably see some of the stuff they're seeing because I've got the topography I'm thinking it's probably kind of like 1980s like wire mesh things that I can see, and I can see that there's like that section of the ship. So like I'm pretty excited about this right now, and I'm headed towards the bridge because I want to talk with the rest of the crew about what is going on here.
Okay, so, absolutely. And is your sort of squad kind of with you, or would they be milling around the ship?
They're probably milling around the ship at this point. They're they're probably pretty bored. They're mainly here to fight if necessary, and they're probably itching for a fight. So they're bored. They're probably like training and beating up on each other just to stay occupied.
Nice. Yeah, kind of in the crew quarters, just maybe Cochise and Lipton just kind of having a little sparring match or whatever.
Right, right.
All right, cool. So you're heading to the bridge, you said.
Yeah, so I can start powwowing with the rest of the group, finding out what they know, what they've seen, what they think, and start coming up with a course of action to figure out what happened to the ship. Because while we want to recover it, because the ship has disappeared and it's obviously not in good condition, the company's going to want to know what happened so we can prevent this sort of thing in the future. So more so than even recovering the ship, figuring out what happened is probably more important here.
Awesome. Alrighty. And so yeah, you start heading towards the bridge, and Larry, our scavenger, where would you be at this point, and what would you be doing as all this is going on? And would you hear any of this, would you imagine?
I am probably in the engineering compartment, like polishing the port infusers on the catalyzers. I don't do well with people. Machines are simpler. They're easier. They'll tell me when they need something, or there's an interesting problem.
Alrighty, sounds good. So yeah, you're just doing your thing, making sure the ship's working, not going to break down on you. Cool. Alrighty. So all right. So, saying at this point, you need to make a decision, right? Because you've gotten to the point now where you either have to sort of stall the ship, put it in kind of an orbit around this asteroid, and decide whether you guys are going to take a shuttle down, one of the shuttles down into that ship, or whether you're going to try to dock right up against it and just enter through your airlock. But as that's kind of going through your mind, you see Ido enter the bridge. So what are you going to do, sighing, at this point?
Well, I asked the company man himself. Mr. Ido, I do not understand how we are to proceed. I trust you to make the decision. What should we do?
Well, the company is going to want to know what happened to their ship. It's clearly not in good condition. We're going to have to get this back to headquarters so that we can salvage what we can, but we must find out what happened. If I return without any answers, it's going to be a problem. So my proposal would be that we go on. We're going to have to get near the ship, do some more investigation, and figure out exactly what happened here.
But is it safe? Is it safe for us? And more importantly, is it safe for the people on the ship?
If you look at the ship, I'm sorry. This is just Justin asking. The ship has a gigantic hole in it, correct?
It does, and it appears to not have any power.
I would say, you may find this troubling, but I'm fairly certain that no one on that ship is alive at this point. So now, not only have we lost a piece of property, but we've lost all of the personnel. The company is not going to be happy about paying out to their families. But at the very least, if we can figure out what's going on, there may not be as many problems when we return to headquarters. So what I would suggest is that we get closer to the breach and maybe see if we can get the ship closer to the breach and perhaps see if there's anything we see before we go in. Because the company also won't be happy about having to send another investigation crew to come find us when we don't come back.
All right, so you're suggesting get in even just a little bit closer so you can get more of a visual. All right.
Before we go in now, I've been told to find out what's going on at all costs. So if it comes to it, we'll actually go into the ship. The company probably, in many senses, considers everyone on this mission to be disposable as long as one person comes back to make a report. But I'm kind of benevolent. I don't want to lose any people here.
Yeah, well, and you also realize that this is weird, right? Because if this was an attack on the ship,
Yes.
one, Firestar is going to need to know that, but that has big implications because you are in the belt, and so technically the belt is nominally controlled by the colonial authority based on Mars, but you also have the Belters Union, which really represent. I mean, they have a big presence, within Firestar, and the miners are almost all part of this Belters Union. So they're going to want to know as well. And depending on if this was an attack and who did this, there could be some serious consequences. Now, to that point, Yodel, what are you've just heard this exchange, right? He's basically said, well, we got to get a little bit closer, but we're probably going to have to go into the ship. What are you thinking? What do you want to do at this point?
My scalp tattoo glows bad idea. I just shake my head. My A stays IS. My ass stays in C. I'll hang out here. Y'all get some juice going back there, and I can help you. I ain't going in that thing. There's a hole in the thing, man. Would I be doing sort of externally facing kind of long-range radar sort of monitoring, that sort of stuff? Or would my system be primarily for connecting up directly to a network?
You tell me.
I keep my eye on both. There's nothing to look at in the ship, so I just keep looking at a distance, make sure there's nothing coming in.
Yeah.
I think it would be most prudent if at least one person remained on the ship to, at the very least, if this mission fails.
It's taken care of. Don't worry about it, big man. It's good. This seat that I'm in, I guarantee you, will still be here when you get back.
I think that this is probably the best course of action.
Nice. And Yodel, your flirtatious AI, Sarah, agrees wholeheartedly with you. She is very happy that you will continue to be at your station, and is telling you just how great you are and all that. So,
that's right, baby, I told you, stick with me and something.
And it's
that's great. That is great.
It's like, we'll scan that ship. We'll scan it real good. So,
Does she call you sugar?
What was that?
Does she call you sugar?
She calls me all kinds of things, so long as she just keeps calling me.
I totally picture like the woman in the red dress from The Matrix, like that whole thing. I'm like, oh no.
Have you saw? I sent you the reference to Tank Girl. Have you seen the movie?
Oh God, it's been a long time. But yeah, you mentioned it's the Lori Petty kind of look. Yeah. Yep. Nice. So. Great. So yeah, so you're going to stay on the ship. That makes sense, absolutely. So, Ido, at this point, you guys kind of get in a little bit closer, and you can't really ascertain anything more than you've already seen. As you do get a little bit closer, though, you actually can notice that this hole does look like it was cut. Now, it's huge, right? Like somebody wouldn't have gone in with hand welders and cut a hole in this ship. Like, this must have been done with some sort of large-scale cutting tool. But it's not a breaching charge, right? You don't see scorch marks from explosives and stuff like that. So you guys are looking at this, and you're like, yeah, somebody definitely cut their way into this ship. But seeing as how there's no apparent signs of life, it seems like at this point you're likely going to have to enter the ship to find out more about what's going on. So, Ido, I'm going to leave it up to you. You decide what you guys are going to do at this point.
Well, we're going to have no choice but to go, and this has gone from a rescue mission to a salvage, recovery, and investigation mission. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of radio down to my crew to my squad that they need to prepare their environmental suits and get ready for a boarding mission. Can my squad also? I have a Class 2 EVA suit. It's sealed and has jump jets. Do they have the same equipment or?
I would say probably not. I would say everybody's got environmental suits, right? Like
Okay.
everybody's got space suits, but no, I would say the jump jets are unique to you. That's one of your special features.
All right, as long as they've obviously got some kind of environmental suit, because I don't want we're not sending anybody out without something that's sealed. So I am going to talk to Sang, and I am going to talk to Larry, and it's like, so as you know, the company has hired you all to help me out with this investigation, and it's become clear that the next step in this investigation is a more in-depth, close-up investigation of the craft. So I'd like to ask that you prepare your environmental suits and become ready to board this ship. Is that acceptable?
Very, very much, so, Mr. Ryder. I'd be glad to. I'd be glad to help you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, lady. So, I asked, how long does everyone think it's going to take them to get prepared for this landing mission for the boarding?
Just a few minutes.
All right. Well, make haste then, fellas. And I head back to my quarters or to my survey station where I have my suit stored, and my team also has their suit stored there. So they're weaponing up, and they're getting suited up, and I'm getting suited up, and we're kind of going over our plan of what's going to happen when we land, what we're on the lookout for. Mm-hmm. Now, since this is a company vessel, I should have a crew manifest of who was on the ship. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was, kind of a standard mining crew, right? I mean, there was a crew that mostly made up of belters, your normal kind of everyday mining crew. This is one of 1,000 ships exactly like it, right? They go out, they collect the ore from these mines, and then they come back, and they just do that over and over again. There's nobody of importance, at least not that you would know, that would have been on this ship.
All right. So how many roughly how many people are on the crew manifest?
Yeah. So typically between the crew operators and miners and stuff, there. And it shows. It doesn't show everybody, but the main crew is about 10 people. And then there's usually a few sort of unnamed support that might be along for whatever reason. But you would guess about 10 people in total. So kind of a lot of people crammed into a small mining ship. Quick question, though. Are you planning on docking your ship up against that ship, or do you want to kind of orbit and then take your little shuttle into the ship?
I'm thinking that we should probably go and take a shuttle, because if we try to dock our ship up against that ship, if whatever caused that hole comes back, we probably don't want to be completely attached to it. Yeah. Does that sound like logical to everyone else?
Yeah, I also actually have a question. So this breach in the ship, what section is it in?
Yeah, good question. It's actually on the side of the ship. So a mining ship typically will be more of an elongated type ship, and in its center, it basically like this big sort of laser drill with tractor beams. So it's literally right on the side, right? Like they just went right through the side of the ship.
So is it near, like, say, the reactor or anything?
Yeah. Well, potentially, yeah. It's closer to the back, to the engineering section of the ship. You don't get the impression that that system was damaged. However, it is shut down. So whatever implication that might have.
What's the background radiation look like?
Well, if somebody wants to scan for it, you can.
And I've got scanners, so I should be able to do that, I believe. The survey scanner should be able to pick up that information.
Yeah, I would imagine that might be a little difficult while you're in a ship, but I would suspect that Yodel could probably use the ship's scanners to pick that up. And you know what? I'll have you do face adversity to do that.
What am I rolling here? I've got my book, but like I'm on an iPad, so I have to do a lot of flipping to get back to the rolls. Never mind though. It's base adversity.
Yeah. So,
Just
well,
a-
you know, it
Plus
depends.
stat, yeah.
Do you want to roll, or do you want to have Yodel roll, since Yodel would be at the ship
Well,
scanning station?
Let's have him roll.
Okay.
Actually, if it's all right, could I like survey the ship from my perspective as like a salvager, a breaker, a scavenger, and
Good
see if I
call.
can get an idea of, you know, what kind of dangers or damage or, you know, potential pitfalls or possible sources of this kind of damage I could see.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you kind of go ahead and describe what that would look like, right? How you're going to do that?
Well, so if we've got a passenger manifest, and this is like a standard class mining ship, we've probably got detailed schematics. So I'm probably just using the standard, you know, passive array or even just visual scanning to compare it and see, okay, you know, through frame 3A, there's a hard vacuum. Maybe the gas tight seals at this point are clear. Maybe we could, you know, route auxiliary power through this. I'm just generally doing a very methodical kind of line-by-line check. Safety.
Yeah. So you would know that based on this type of ship design, they basically would have breached between some airlocks, right? So I mean, that particular compartment that they would have breached into obviously will be in vacuum, right? But depending,
just the one compartment that's open.
well, so that's hard to ascertain right now. Potentially, depending on what happens when the power shuts off, if those sort of blast doors, so to speak, were down, then potentially they'll be sealed off from vacuum. But because the power is turned off, the life support system is turned off, so there's no air going through the ship at this point. Any of those life support systems they might still be able to be activated, but you get the impression that the systems were shut down. They didn't turn off because they were damaged.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So can I potentially roll assessment to earn a data point on the status of the ship?
Yeah.
And am I aware of what's going on here, or am I? Is this not information I don't know?
I'd probably share this. I mean, as it comes up.
All right.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yep. Okay, so.
One quick question, Justin. Did you say you're playing on an iPad?
No, I said I'm not playing on an iPad. I am looking at the
book. Okay.
The book on an iPad. Like I don't have a physical version yet, so I'm. Almost all of my role-playing books are on iPad or on digital now. It just makes it easy to keep lots of stuff in one place.
Yeah, no problem. I was just like, holy shit, how did you do an overlay or a lower third on the iPad? But
No, sorry.
No, that's cool. Makes sense. All right. So you got a 9 plus. What was your?
I think I'd use expertise, and that's a +2. I'm a little confused though, because I thought when I first rolled it, I got 2 3s, and then I looked away, and now I've got a 4 and a 5. Did anybody else?
Oh, you know what happened? You've probably clicked off under the dice to explode the dice.
No, I don't have explode all dice on.
Oh, you don't?
4 new roll.
Well, I don't know, but I'm happy to take the 4 and the 5.
Well, okay, all right. I will take that then. So that's an 11 total for me.
Perfect. Alrighty. And so you did assessment. Yes, you would actually gain a data point for that. So as you are kind of assessing it, using your scanning abilities and just kind of your own technical skill, you realize that this is expertly done, right? Like this is some sort of ship-mounted breaching device, but it's not explosives, right? Like almost like they used a mining laser to cut into the ship.
Like that.
Yeah. And they did it also in a way that wouldn't have damaged any vital systems. So it gives you the impression that whoever did this probably has done this before. They're very good at it.
I know what it was. Lightsabers.
Yep.
Yep, that's probably it. Okay, so it's like a laser breaching device.
That's the impression you're getting, yeah.
Made a point about a laser breaching device.
Yep. And just as kind of a, sort of meta point, depending on what you guys find out, that data point might also have additional information attached to it later. So, but I'll bring that up if it comes up. So.
Okay, sounds good.
Have you shared this with the rest of us?
Yeah, I don't see any reason to keep that. So I'm probably either in the engineering section connected over the intercom to the bridge, and I'm talking through my assessment as I occur. So I'm saying it looks like, as far as I can tell, it's just a couple of the surface compartments are breached. So if we can put a temporary patch over those, we might be able to get restore power and get air flowing back inside that.
I have a question. Where are the docking ports on this ship? Because I'm of the belief that we probably want to dock when we take our shuttle down. We want to dock as far away from the breach as possible because we don't know what might be sitting there waiting for us to come in through the gigantic hole that's been cut into the side of the ship.
Honestly, if we've all got vac suits, there's no reason we can't just walk over there.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah, you can certainly do that. You also realize, though, that if anybody's hanging out in the ship, it's less likely that they're hanging out in that breached area because they'd be subject to vacuum. So they'd have to be constantly with, grav boots on or, somehow restrained so they wouldn't float out of the ship. If there's anyone in the ship, they're likely in a different compartment. But yeah, you can certainly kind of make your way over if you want.
So we've established that there's no power, and no power means no life support. Is there like residual heat, or is it like ice cold over there?
Ice cold.
So there's nobody alive in there unless they're in like full vacuum suits.
Right. Based on all of your scans, your collective scans, it seems as there's no heat. Cores turned off. There does not seem to be any presence on there whatsoever. At least not a live body.
Hey, Sam?
Yeah.
I've got Sarah out searching through the system now, trying to find if she can see any schematics, any patented kinds of things that match something that might be able to make that type of hole.
Okay, great. I would say that would be an assessment then at that point. So because that sort of searching through the what do they call it, the net, so to speak. Yeah, the sector net or whatever. Yeah, go ahead and make an assessment. Plus interface.
Nine plus 2.
Okay, great. So Sarah kind of is, and you can almost visualize it, like this, she's like in this virtual reality system. In fact, maybe you can see it. Maybe you have these like sort of goggles or whatever. I
do actually. It's funny you say that. That's part of the one of the assets that I have.
Yeah. Yeah. So you kind of are seeing it through her eyes, right? And so she's like kind of in this, and it almost is stylized as like this old school kind of library, like a 20th century library, and she's digging through, she's digging through these old books, and she opens up this one manual, and it's basically this sort of history of the Belters Union, but it's more of actually a dossier with collected information from both the UN Authority and the UN Alliance and the Colonial Authority. It's all kind of it looks basically like a terrorism document, right? Like they've been looking at these belters and kind of putting together these sort of terrorism cases against them. And there's this obscure note kind of hidden in this thing talking about how among the numerous violent acts that the Belters Union has been linked to, although all unofficial because they're that good, there have been rumors of cargo transports being expertly cut into, the cargo being basically just tractored right out of the hull or out of the cargo bay into the ship and then taking off, with the crew remaining alive and intact, except anybody in that that compartment, which is exceptional, in the level of skill that would take. But no one has been able to determine who that is, or if there has been there's no patents, there's no official technology that would allow that to happen.
Man, this ain't the first time this kind of thing's happened. Belter's being blamed for this. Nobody knows how. They just know that they're good.
I'm just kind of noting that this has taken on a new dimension, because if this actually is somehow tied to the Belter Union itself, this could cause all types of interesting political situations between the Belter Union, the Colonial Authority, and Firestar.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys all kind of realize that, and you realize that the danger level has now just increased, not necessarily because of who did this, but the fact that people could be really interested in the result, and there could be people wanting to stop your investigation, potentially, if it is as bad as you think it is.
Auga! Auga! The tats on the side of the head.
Yep. So at this point, are you guys ready to enter the ship?
Yeah, I think I am.
I believe we are. My team and I are.
Okay.
I think the best thing to do would be to actually enter through the breach and see if any of the ship is still gas tight or not, and see if we can get any readings on the interior of the breach.
Is this your recommendation, having dealt with any situation in a breach situation like this before?
Well,
not exactly like this, but in the ship where the hull has been breached.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing to do is to determine the extent of the damage. Is this just a hunk of metal, or is it possible that we could light the fire again?
Well, we hired you on because of your expertise, so we'll go along with your plan.
Okay, sounds good. So I think we're gonna. Is it Sang, Ito, me, and then the blokes from the crew are all heading aboard? Okay, so we all tie up, all have our emergency bottles, and we just kind of drift over, all playing our big, heavy-duty flashlights across the hull, and being careful that we enter in without snagging on any potential jagged edges and having a real bad day. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. The airlock from your ship closes behind you, and you kind of have your cables connected so that you won't drift off randomly. Yeah, and then of course, Ito, you have your thrusters, so you can kind of, and I imagine maybe you guys will all be kind of connected on the cable with Ito in the lead, kind of using his thrusters to get over there. Yeah. And so as you kind of enter the ship, I mean, it's eerily dark. Not that it's unexpected because there's no lights turned on, but it's just got that sort of creep factor to it, right? Because you guys have never been in this situation before. And as you get in, and you kind of turn on your grav boots, suck to the floor, you can walk. You basically looking on either end. This is essentially like just an access corridor, right? There's not much in here. If you were to go towards the front of the ship, You're just behind the center, and right in the center is where the mining laser would be, and all of the stations around that would kind of operate that. And then directly in front of that station would be the helm where the pilot would be. But the helm is tiny on this kind of ship. It basically houses a pilot and a co-pilot. The majority of the space is around the mining laser, and then you have kind of the cargo bay where you kind of entered, and then engineering in the back. Although where you're at is just a small portion of the actual cargo bay. You realize that most of the cargo is probably, if there was any in there, it's probably still in the ship.
Dito, get the juice going so I can keep an eye on you.
How big is this breach?
The breach looks to be just big enough that a maybe two or three human-sized people could enter side by side. Not big enough that a ship could go in.
And it's the only breach?
Yep, as far as you can see, yeah.
So is that runs counter to the information that Yodel found, correct? That was they breached a hole in the cargo bay and then sucked everything out of there. And this is just a small cut in an access corridor?
Yes, well, so it doesn't run counter to it, but it is just enough different to be, to kind of stick in your mind, yeah.
Are there emergency hatches within the corridor that are shut, or is the whole length of this open to space?
So when you kind of enter this area, you're in part of the cargo bay, but there actually are doors on either end of you. So this part of the cargo bay actually looks like a bit of an access corridor between the actual main cargo compartment and then the mining part of the ship. So and on either end the doors are down, they're closed.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
What you're telling me is though that there's been this hole cut in that three people could enter side by side in this breach.
Yes.
So we have to consider the possibility that there could be other people on the ship and they might be in environmental suits like us. So we have to be on watch. There could be pirates or raiders who are also on the ship, so we have to be doing due diligence and watching our backs wherever we go.
But no survivors.
So the other thing that I'm getting from this is that only a relatively small portion of the ship is actually exposed to vacuum. Most of it is probably still sealed.
Absolutely. That's the impression you're getting right now. Yep.
Okay. Are there on the emergency hatches that are down in this little section? Are there like readouts or anything that I could get? Are there any indicators on this side that say whether or not there is pressure on the other side?
No, in fact, all of the systems have no power to them, so you can't. You'd have to manually open the doors to be able to go from one spot to the next.
Okay.
Well, can I do a deduction? Use deduction and try to figure out what is the most dangerous thing in the situation?
Yeah, you can certainly do that. Now, I think. So I'm not sure exactly how the skills work. I think you would do an assessment roll in that case, or do you just do it?
It's just the first time you encounter a situation, you can ask one question.
And the GM has to answer honestly. So I guess my question here is, what's the most dangerous thing in the situation?
One thing that I would caution you though is if you ask a question about what's most dangerous, he's gonna make something dangerous. So. Be careful with that power.
I love danger. Let's see what happens.
So what is the most dangerous thing right now that you're encountering?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So as you're kind of looking around, you see now that you're kind of like in here, you're not in any immediate danger, at least that you can sense, and you're looking around, and you can see blood smeared on the walls. But it doesn't just look like splatter, like somebody was, killed here. No, this looks deliberate. This looks like somebody was smearing blood on the wall. And you also see these kind of, it almost looks like scoring on the doors, like somebody was trying to either fire blasters or something at the doors. There was definitely some kind of violence that took place in this particular area. But as of right now, the most dangerous thing to you would be if your mag boots turned off and you got sucked back out into the vacuum.
So, yeah, this is kind of just me personally. I'm starting to believe my idea that there might be raiders on this ship. So we have to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we're in an access. We're in an access port, and you said that there are doors on either side of this port?
Yeah, so heading towards the front would lead you directly into the area where the big mining laser is. Heading towards the back would lead you through the cargo compartment into the engineering and the engines and all that.
So I think we're going to have to turn around and come back out, though, because these aren't going to be airlock doors. If we jimmy these open, we will expose the rest of the ship to vacuum. We're going to have to go back out onto the exterior and find an airlock to open up.
And you could definitely do that. Within the cargo bay itself, obviously there's the airlock that, where the cargo would go in and out, be delivered. So yeah, you could potentially see if you could, kind of get into like an access hatch.
Yeah, I think
I would imagine Larry would know how to kind of jimmy his way in, using tools or whatever.
I've got an engineering kit. That's
Yeah.
what those are for.
Yep.
Yeah, I get an infiltration kit, so...
So how do you want to do that, Larry? Do you want to go by yourself and do that, and then try to open the door and let your companions in, or do you want to all kind of go together?
If the door opens, then the ship gets vacuumed. Like
Okay.
these are, yeah. So we're all gonna have to go back out to the airlock.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I got you.
So and I don't think we'd want to use like the main cargo hatch. That seems like that's just more trouble than it's worth. And we just find like a personnel hatch somewhere. I'm of the opinion. So if it's just this one area, there's like another corridor maybe on the other side of the ship. So we could, once we're inside the interior, we won't be like cut off from one whole portion of the ship, right?
Well, no, you will. So because the way it is, this is the corridor that basically leads from the front of the ship to the back of the ship. So if you're in the back of the ship, the only way to the front of the ship is either through this corridor or potentially some sort of entrance on the front of the ship.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, the ship isn't big enough that it would have sort of, a aft and what do you call it, starboard and port corridors.
However we do this, I recommend we stay together. The corporation has a number of old films from the ancient era, and one thing I learned watching them is that splitting up is always a bad idea.
And your crew nods at that too. They're locked and loaded. They're ready to go, but they agree.
I work better on my own, but for now, I think we should definitely stick together. Okay, so we're heading out back onto the exterior.
Hey, 1 second.
Yep.
Before we head out, do you mind if I do a space Hail Mary for the violence?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I think I missed that.
Do you know if I do a space Hail Mary for the violence that Sang has seen?
Oh yeah, you can definitely do that.
Cool.
Do like a little prayer and all that.
Like
Absolutely.
Like a space prayer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's fitting.
Gotta have some new age music playing.
Yeah, a little
New
patchouli.
age.
Yep.
So I think we should start in the engineering section and get power back up.
Yep.
What do you? Alternately, we could head for the command section and see if we can get. I mean, there's not a whole bunch we can get out of, dead computers, but there might be more, just clues up there.
I'd be particularly interested to try to get into any of the computer's logs and maybe get some insight into what happened here.
Yep. So in order to do that, we got to restart the generator. Um, so I think we should head for the back and try and do that first, and then we can go up to the front and actually turn on the computers, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I mean, is everybody else in agreement?
I agree.
While we're headed back there, how long do I think it would take to like put a patch, like a hull patch on that, like just basically weld up a piece of sheet metal and seal it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You would be the expert in that sort of field, so why don't you tell me?
I can't imagine it'd take more than like an hour. I
Yeah.
mean, it wouldn't be pretty, but it'd hold air, at least wouldn't leak too much.
Yeah,
Enough
yeah.
that it would facilitate movement back and forth.
Yeah. I would say that's reasonable.
Okay, so that might be maybe we'll get the generators going, and then you guys we'll come back out, and you guys head up to the command portion, and I'll get that going, so we don't have to keep going EVA to go back and forth. But in the meantime, let's head back to this engineering airlock.
Agreed.
All right. So you guys do that, and you kind of take the disengage the grav boots. You start floating again. Kind of pull yourself out. You're using your thrusters to go across, and sort of Larry over the internal comms.
Grav boots are green.
What's up?
I said I don't use grav boots. Those are for greenhorns.
Okay. Well, whatever. You were floating around the whole time, doing your thing, but you float out, and Larry kind of half points and then also kind of half directs you to this little sort of like an access hatch that somebody would could go through just kind of one at a time within the cargo compartment itself. And so you go up to that and you open it. You kind of flash your light in with one hand and your gun in the other, and you don't see anybody in there. It's just this little crawl space, and it kind of goes down into the engineering bay. So you guys would all go in there, and you kind of set down within the engineering bay. And again, it's just everything is dark. I mean, you can see because you've got your flashlights on, but all the systems are turned off. And as this happens, Larry starts making his way towards the generator to kind of boot everything up. But as this happens, before that happens, Yodel, you start hearing this ping of something on the ship's radar system. Bing, bing, bing. And as you look at it, there's this transponder signal out in space that has just been picked up on your radar, but it's not registering any known signal that you can understand. You've never seen this type of signal before.
Reavers.
Oh, I think we got company coming. I got something going ping, ping, ping. I got nothing. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Sarah, baby, see what you can figure out, huh?
And she's like, you got it. This is at the extreme edge of your sensors. Like this is barely within range. And she's doing her thing, and she's saying, this is definitely, basically she tells you this is definitely some kind of vessel, but that's all she can tell. She can't get any kind of scanner reading on it. It's almost as if it's messing with her scanners. But it doesn't seem to be moving towards you. It seems to have just kind of all of a sudden entered this space and is just sitting there.
We got a bogey at max distance. I don't know. Y'all got any sort of juice going in that ship yet?
We're working on it.
Would just out of curiosity, would a ship like ours, like the Sidonia, in general, have better sensors than the one that they're on?
Yes, absolutely. Because the mining ship is really just kind of a Class 1 vessel. Basically, what it's good at is using its laser to break up rocks, and then it has a tractor beam to pull it in. That's pretty much all it does. So it's pretty basic.
So it's like an icebreaker that has like a collection hatch.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, it has more than tractor beams too. It's got actual mandibles that could grab stuff, but it uses tractor beam as well to kind of suck it into the cargo. Yeah, so it's basic.
And does the Sidonia have weapons, out of curiosity?
Yeah, it does. You have, you know, the sort of standard like little point defense turret that would just shoot little rocks out of the way, but you've got 2 main guns on the hull, so you could fire at things in front of you.
Okay. I get Sarah back, tell her to sort of stay on top of A, what's going on out there, and be ready to get the weapons hot. And I just keep trying to figure out what it is. I'm furiously going to the keyboard trying to figure something out.
So the AI can control the weapon systems on the ship?
If the AI enters a system, then she can do the same thing I can with program. Anytime she accesses a system, choose a behavior that the system could perform and a condition that will trigger that behavior.
Awesome.
Yep. So, yeah, so that's what's going on back on the Sidonia. But back on this mining ship, what are you guys looking at right now? What are you guys doing?
What's it called? Just FYI, does it have a name, the ship?
It really doesn't. It just got like a, you know, like a series of letters and numbers, you know, like the tag, you know, be like, I don't know, FA 2279 or whatever, you know, Firestar Amalgamated, and then the thing. There's probably a name that the crew gave it, but it's not in the official manifest.
Okay. So we were making our way to the engineering compartment, and I'm going to see if I can get the reactor spool back up.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Now, so as you do that, you don't notice that there's any damage. Like I said, based on what you saw before, it looks like it had been powered down. So I'm not even going to really make you roll for it. You can bring the power systems back up. You know, it takes a little while to boot up, you know, whatever. But as you're inside here, at least in this compartment, you know, life support starts to come back on. The gravity, you know, kicks in, so you guys are now, you know, not kind of floating, and you don't have to use grav boots. And the lights come on. And as the lights come on, you notice just exactly what happened in here. You actually, and the reason that you notice it is because as the lights come on, you just kind of look up, you know, ahead to see, oh, wow, the lights turned on. And it's like that scene in Firefly where you see these bodies just kind of hanging by their feet, all decimated and just destroyed. You know, it looks like they've just been ripped to shreds. And saying this would, I mean, you guys would all have heard this, but this will especially resonate with you. They're known as Marauders. So yeah, think of Reavers from Firefly. Like, these are notorious space pirates that are just nasty. But what's freaking you guys out the most is the juxtaposition with the precision that you guys saw in the cut and those rumors of other spacers, you know, these sort of precision snatch and grab jobs. That is not what Marauders do. They go and they hit a ship, they breach it, they kill everybody inside. So there's blood everywhere, there's gore everywhere. These bodies are all, you know, in this fashion.
This, I would say that I tell everyone else, I'm like, so this was clearly done by Marauders, but I don't think that this is a Marauder operation. I think they were just the muscle. There's some unknown faction or party that was responsible for this overall mission.
Do Marauders work for other people?
Not that you're aware of. The stories are that Marauders are wild cards, right? They are basically wild men on the edge of space. They most of them, well, at least the stories say, were belters that went crazy, right? And or got so sick of living under the oppressive rule that they let out, you know, set out for the stars, and now they just raid ships. But no, they do not work for people as far as the stories go.
But it just doesn't make sense to me that Marauders, who are known for not being clean and precise, have managed to cut a very clean, precise hole into the wall of this ship, into the hull of this ship, with a weapon that no one has ever seen before. Something just doesn't add up here.
There's two possibilities. Either Marauders have learned to be precise when they want to be, or somebody precise has learned to be savage when they want to be.
And as those words kind of resonate in the air, Yodel, you all of a sudden now your sensors are saying, oh, power's back on the ship, and you can sort of kind of access some of the main systems, and you actually see the ship visibly light up, right? Like the lights are turning on. You can see some air venting from the from the breached area, but you notice that like you can kind of go and get into the comm system remotely if you need to.
Well, the first thing I want to do is get on the camera system and start looking throughout the ship.
Absolutely. And there are cameras on this ship because the company wants to know what's going on. And so, yeah, now that being said, that's not an easy task because those things, they don't want other people getting in. So you would definitely need to make a test for that. I think that's going to be probably overcome opposition. Yeah, face adversity, I suppose.
Access.
You think it is assessment?
No, access.
Oh, access. Is access a move?
Yep.
Yeah, it is. You're right. My apologies. Yeah, it is access.
Plus interface.
Yep, plus interface. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead and do that.
Nine total.
Okay. So let's see. But your breach is detected. The owner of the systems will likely retaliate sooner, either electronically, legally, or physically. Ooh, interesting. Okay. So yeah, you get in. I'm not going to resolve it just yet. You do get into the system. Yep. And into the cameras, and you start kind of looking around, and you immediately notice the gore and the bodies and everything in in the engineering compartment, and you start.
They raped them to death before they ate them and sewed their skin into their clothes.
Yeah, if they're very, very lucky, they did it in that order. Yeah, no, so that's definitely bad, right? But you can also, you see that the front of the ship, it's abandoned. There's nobody in the helm area, and there's just carnage and bodies everywhere within the area where the mining laser is, where people would be operating it. It's not like they're all hung up on the ceiling. These are just dead bodies lying on the floor. And as of right now, you don't see any other movement except for your crew.
Y'all got corpsicles up front, but nobody else on the ship.
I'll flip off the camera.
Say again?
I'll flip off the camera.
Be nice.
Joe, is there any way we can have Sarah access the logs of the ship's crew? Maybe someone said something before or during the attack that might tell us what's going on.
Sarah can only be in one system at a time.
Okay.
So I'll keep her on the weapons and the radar and that kind of stuff, and I'll try and access the system. I'd rather let the robot shoot the guns.
Sounds good.
All right.
So, I'm assuming that Yodel told us about. He did tell us about the ship. How you said it's at like extreme range?
Yeah.
How long would it take it to like get to us if it started moving like as fast as possible?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say, right? If it's a large ship. It has a big signature, right? So it wouldn't take very long. I mean, maybe a couple hours. Based on the information that you know of, let's say like a Class 4, battleship type thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a huge ship. This signature. This is not.
Appeared out of nowhere.
How many Class 4 ships are there?
Not a lot. I mean,
one more than we want there to be.
Yeah, Class 4 ships are like the cream of the crop, right?
That's like flagships for a military. That's like a UNA flagship or a Colonial Authority flagship.
Right.
Well, I'm wondering, like, is there a way that we could, like, by process of elimination, if there's like 15 aircraft carriers, can we say like, well, we know these 3 are over by Jupiter, and it's got to be this one or this one? Like, are there that few, or could there be some that we don't know about?
Well, there could definitely be some that you don't know about because those would be military craft. That would not necessarily be easy information to access. But keep in mind too that those types of systems, I mean, a colonial transponder and a UN transponder have very unique signatures. Like, you know immediately what they are. This thing is showing up as something that they can't understand. So either somebody's messed with this to in a very sophisticated way, or this has some sort of transponder signal that hasn't been seen.
So we don't actually have any hard data on this. We just have what it's telling us about itself.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. But yeah, based on your limited knowledge of the types of ships that exist, at the maximum sort of intercept range for a Class 4 vessel, it would take a couple hours at least to get within range.
So that does free us up, though, because we'll see it coming, presumably.
Oh yeah, there's no way that you couldn't see it coming. Yeah, but it's not moving. It's at least right now it's stationary as far as the scanners can tell.
So, is it possible? Could Ito? Could you? You've got like probe launching facilities, don't you?
Yes.
Yo, man, it's leaving us alone. Why don't we leave it alone?
My concern is that if we launch a probe at it, it might decide that it wants to come closer, and that may not be the best thing for us.
What he said.
It could be friendly.
Well, Sarah's doing what Sarah's doing. Babe, listen in on this thing. You think you got any patterns going on there? You looping through anything?
And she basically tells you, no, this is not like anything she's ever encountered before. This is highly sophisticated technology, but it doesn't, she can't get, I don't know, it's so foreign to her that she couldn't even tell if there was some sort of, deception programming within this transponder, or if it's just built like this.
This is all highly unusual for one of our crafts, so I'm wanting to look and see if I can see like a bill of lading and see exactly what might have been on the ship that had attracted all of this attention. We've got Marauders, we've got super space lasers, we've got some type of gigantic flagship that we don't know what the hell it is. I would like to know exactly what was on the ship that made it so interesting to all of these potentially different parties.
Do we want to head up to the front of the command module then?
Well, I should, as a representative of the company, shouldn't I be able to access that information pretty easily anyway?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can go over to a little terminal in the engineering bay, and by the way, there is a bunch of the ore that was still, that was harvested from this asteroid. It's still sitting in the cargo bay, so it doesn't look like anything was taken. Which would actually sort of support the Marauder theory. But again, that precision is still, messing with you. And you look up the bill of lading, and literally it's as mundane as it can be, right? It is simply a mining operation. It was one that was scheduled to have ended 2 days ago. They should have returned by now with the goods. There's nothing on this ship out of the ordinary.
I'd like to start trying to access and review the logs.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think I'm gonna go head out and I'm gonna start working on the hull patch.
Yeah, start patching up. Absolutely.
I'll be doing that for a while.
Yep.
Is there a way you can go through the logs of the mine laser itself and see like what they might have like come across?
Well,
like you mean like any personal logs or?
Yeah.
Actually,
personal logs would be kept on more of like a personal data pad, which would most likely be in the the crew compartments. The official ship's log would probably be kept by either the captain or the XO, kind of whoever's in charge of the ship, and that would be sort of the official. But yeah, so you would have to locate those data pads or whatever. which they could be on the bodies hanging above you, or they could be in the crew compartments.
Something tells me that this happened shortly. That everyone probably died. Died shortly before before this all happened, or the time between this happening and that thing appearing probably wasn't very long. So I don't know that the average crew member would have even had a chance to get back to their quarters and write anything about it. However, I do believe that the captain's log and the XO's log would probably have something more detailed about what's going on.
Absolutely. And so as you guys are talking about this, you see that Larry is doing his thing. He's leaving the ship, going back to kind of, do the patch on the hull, so to speak. And Yodel is searching through, the systems, just kind of, looking for whatever he can find. Yeah, you're trying to find the captain's log or whatever, the ship's log. And as this happens, Yodel, you start to, because you still kind of are patched into the cameras, and you catch something out of the corner of your eye, and you realize that as Larry is leaving the ship, or not leaving the ship, but leaving the engineering, like he's gonna go back up into the port and kind of get out of here. You see movement in the front section of the ship, and it's hard to tell exactly at first because you caught it out of the corner of your eye, you turn and you look and you can't see it. But then as you turn again, you do see a body in a full vac suit moving around in the front part of the ship.
By in the front part, do you mean in the cockpit? Do you mean just further up toward the cockpit?
Yeah, like in the helm area.
Man, you're so lucky I'm here. You got movement up front. Somebody in a vac suit.
I knew there was someone on this ship.
Good for you. Now what are you going to do about it? My ass is staying here. Your ass is on the line.
Could I tell how long the power was out at all?
Yeah, so like I imagine if you had access to the computer systems, kind of just getting the log of what had happened, the systems would have been shut down for a little over 24 hours at this point.
So is it standard for a suit to have that much life support, or does that mean that there was like either somebody showed up after the power was out, or that they've got like a cache of external life support or something like that, if they were like stowed away up there?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. The standard suit would not have 24 hours worth of life support. However, nobody else in the ship seems to be wearing a vac suit, so take that for what it's worth.
After Larry gets this hull patched up, I think that we probably need to start heading towards the front of the ship. We've got some muscle. I have a small concealed weapon on me, so we should be able to fight off anything that we come upon. But I don't think we're going to get any closer to solving this mystery until we get to the helm of the ship.
Yeah.
Am I so when Yodel lets us know that there's somebody up in the cockpit? Am I outside already, or am I still in the ship, within the ship?
You would have been up in the access, kind of hatch at that point. You would be just about to open the hatch to go outside the ship, and you get this over the comm.
Okay.
Yep.
Wait, it might be prudent if there's somebody up there. We might want to like lock out the controls somehow or another, so that, say, the person up there can't vent the atmosphere again or do anything like that. Is that something you can do, Yodel?
Man, if it's connected to a system, I can do it.
Yeah, and you could, but Yodel, what you actually notice is that this person is not going anywhere near the systems. He's going to the door. He's like, and you can see him. He's banging on the door to the cockpit. Like, you're not sure exactly what's going on, but this thing doesn't seem like it's this person does not seem like they are moving with stealth. They don't seem like they're trying to do anything hostile. They look like they're trying to get out of the cockpit.
A survivor, perhaps?
So,
What does their jumpsuit look like?
It would be the EVA suit from the ship. It's the standard,
So this is a standard amalgamated EVA suit. Then this isn't something from clearly from a foreign origin.
Right.
Is the cabin, or sorry, the cockpit, is it vacuumed or is there oxygen in there?
There is now oxygen, yeah, because all the systems turned back on. So the gravity, generators would have turned back on. The life support would have turned back on. Lights are on.
Are there speakers in the cockpit that I could plug into that I could talk
absolutely.
to?
Yeah, the comms. You have a comm system similar to what you guys have on the ship. Yeah.
Hey, yo, slow down before you break your hand. Who are you? What you?
And like as you do that, I mean the guy literally like jumps, like I mean he is so startled, it's unbelievable, right? And he jumps and he kind of falls over, and you can see him like almost like he's trying to ward off like a blow or something. He's like, oh, and there's no sort of communication, right? Like there's no verbal communication whatsoever. You just hear this no, and that's it. And it kind of looks panicked for a minute. And then he stands back up and he's banging on the door like, yeah,
Yo, guys, he want out. He don't want to talk.
Is he outside the cockpit trying to get in, or inside the cockpit?
No, he's inside. Yeah, he's like basically in the cockpit trying to get out, which is weird because like at this point he could just access the controls and the door would open, but he's not. He's banging on the door.
He ain't in his right mind.
I'm almost wondering if he hasn't lost his mind by being stuck on the ship for the last 2 days.
Yeah, I think you guys should go handle that. I'm not good with people.
Saying you're a woman of the cloth. Perhaps your spiritual skills would come in handy here. Why don't you and I and my squad head up there and see if we can't talk to this guy and figure out what's going on?
Agreed. He may need our help. Certainly he needs our help. So.
And worst comes to worst, you could always have a meeting with the rockjacker if necessary. All right,
you guys haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
I'm excited to find out what that is.
Yeah. So you guys are gonna. So the only kind of safe way necessarily, although I don't know if you care, you could open the doors, go into the vacuum, the area open to the vacuum right now, and just walk through. I mean, it's not like you're gonna, kill anybody in here. Or you can exit the ship and come in.
Which is going to be faster.
Ultimately, if you open the door in engineering, go into the compartment that's open to space. I mean, you've got your suits on. You just got to be prepared, right, for that vacuum. Yeah, and you could walk through and go to the other side.
I'm half finished. Don't do that.
Okay, we're not going to do that then. I'm going to leave Lipton with Larry, so there's some muscle just in case anyone comes up on him. I will take Cochise and Ota with me, and
You can take
Huh?
I'm fine. You can take all of your guys. I'm fine.
Okay, I'll take all three of them then, and then they and I and Sang will we will take the less destructive route to the front of the ship.
Okay, so you'll kind of exit the same way that you guys came in, and then try to go in the front. And as you do that, Yodel, there's another ping on the systems in the ship. Bing! And you look over and you actually see a transponder much closer this time, much smaller, Belter signature lifting off from another part of the asteroid, very, very close to the ship, and start approaching. Not you, but the derelict, the mining vehicle, the vessel.
Yo, now y'all really got company. We got a Belter ship coming in. It's about 500 clicks away. It's going to be here soon. I tell Sarah to start warming up the weapons.
What is the signature of the Belter ship? Does it have like a name or broadcasting anything?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it is a standard sort of class 2 transport ship. It actually it is known as the Calliope. At least that's what the transponder signal says, and it's a class of ship that would basically just transport personnel, and not like a military one, just a sort of standard civilian transport. This thing is modified though. It does have. It looks like a a small kind of turret laser on it. Kind of the standard to blow away debris and whatever. And it's got some sort of grapple arm on it. It looks like this kind of makeshift thing where it would like lock onto a ship. You don't see any kind of advanced technology on this thing at all. And as it's kind of getting into visual range, you can see this is a Marauder ship. I mean, they've got all the signatures, right? They've got all the weird graffiti and everything on there, so they're coming for you.
Oh man, y'all better best be prepared to get raped and eaten. I tell Sarah, start turning the weapon toward it.
Okay, so once I hear that there's a Marauder ship coming in, I'm gonna make my way with Ito and Xiang to the command module.
Okay. So yeah, you guys make your way up there, and you basically, again, go through an access hatch just as this ship kind of flies around, and it literally shoots the grapple arm into the breach in the ship, locks in. And it,
Well, it's a good thing you didn't fix that.
yeah, and it's and I mean, these are similar sized vessels, but this thing, I mean, it's literally like almost like on a winch cable, so it's like stuck into the ship, and it's trying to pull the ship off the asteroid.
Can I get to controls of the mining ship?
Yeah, so you come in through the thing, and as you do, the guy that is in that area, like, he starts to panic. He's like literally just out of his mind, starting to panic.
Bowl him over.
Yeah, all right, and I won't even make you roll for it at this point. You just like knock him over.
Is the cable big enough to be targeted by the
little turret?
Yeah, but not by the main lasers, but by the point
Right,
defense.
the point defense. Yeah, I would say certainly.
All right, I'm going to give that a shot.
All right. So
No
in
pun
this
intended.
case, what's that?
No pun intended.
Yeah. So in this case, I believe that's just going to be a straight face adversity because you're just kind of taking one shot at it.
Not open fire?
What's that?
Not open fire?
No, because open fire would be sort of an extended, battle with, undercover and all that. So no, this would just be straight face adversity using, I guess.
Metal. It'd be metal.
Yeah, metal. It seems weird because you're sort of accessing it from a computer, but still. Yeah.
Whoops, hold on. Hit the wrong thing. Here we go. 2. Oh, total of 3.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, I hit our own ship.
So, oh man, what do I want to do?
Sorry, guys.
So you blast it,
Here's interesting.
and you completely miss, right? It goes and fires a laser, bolt into the actual ship area, and at that, you actually see a shuttle that somebody's coming out of this ship, and they were heading towards the ship, and it actually now diverts towards the Sidonia, realizing that there is somebody on the Sidonia shooting at it. So.
No, now whose turn is it to get raped and eaten? Okay, so I'm gonna jump into the cockpit, and I'm gonna try and bring the engines up and try and pull away from the Marauders.
Okay. Yeah, so you're you're accessing the system, and
Right.
the thing is you're locked out. Like you have to enter a code. Like they don't just let anybody in. So you would have to definitely access the system. It'd almost be like the pilot would have to type in his code, right? Because they don't want anybody just flying this ship.
Ito, you're a company man, aren't you?
I am.
Would you happen to maybe have some like ideas about standard pilot codes? Because I am not the best with computers.
I'm not a pilot, but I do believe that I remember a few of the codes. So I think I'm going to go ahead and try to access the system.
But so what we could do is one of us can access it and the other one can get involved, and that'll
Right.
make it more likely for us to. So either one, you could
Yeah,
do
I'm
it.
going to roll access.
Okay, so you're gonna do that, and I'm helping him.
Yep.
Helping him type in.
Sure.
So I rolled a 6 plus my interface is 1, so we got a 7.
Alrighty.
So
So-
I'm wondering if it's worth. So I could potentially, if I roll and succeed, I could bring you up to a full success,
Mhm.
but there's a chance that I could fail. So what would me be getting involved? Would that be expertise or metal or interface?
So it'd be interface at this point. Yeah, because you'd have to be basically accessing the system.
Okay.
Because I mean, basically, what's happening? Like, I assume you guys aren't just sort of taking a shot in the dark, just typing in a random code. Like you.
No,
you
I know some codes, but like they're older codes, but they still check out. So
yeah.
Okay, I don't think it's worth it for me to help him, so he's just gonna have to take the 7 and 9.
All right.
Wait. What is your interface?
my interface is +1.
Oh, no, sorry. What is Larry's interface?
Mine is 0. I'm not great with computers.
All right. Well, I have a +1. I'll help you out.
You certainly can. And I imagine if Yodel wasn't occupied or nearly crapping his pants, realizing the ship's coming at him, he would be like, "Man, you got a computer guy over here that could do this for you," but he can't because he's freaking out.
Right.
Yeah. He's like, "Oh my god." Yeah, that's fine if you want to.
So because if I with the 7, it's gonna get us in. It's just that there could be some type of consequence. It's gonna send a beacon or something. Basically, we've broken in, but it's sending an alert to some type of central system. So we can either take the risk of doing get involved and potentially really screw up, or we could just take whatever knock we get by having basically brute forced our way into the system.
Is our long distance friend still at long distance?
Yes.
Is there any way to access the Marauder's ship, the computer?
You could try. And seeing,
Well-
did you attempt to get involved in accessing the mining ship, or did you decide not to do that?
I'd say taking that kind of risk would be out of it for a company man, so I do it. Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to roll, and let me know what you get.
Come on, RNGesus.
I say, please, Mr. Sang says, please, Mr. Item, allow me to assist. I'm an experienced pilot, and I roll a 4.
You rolled a 4. Excellent. All right. So you guys, it felt like for a minute there you were going to be able to access the system, but whatever it was that Siang did kind of triggered a sort of not a defense system, but like like an intruder kind of alert. And so the systems now have basically locked you out. And there's this like code going out, right? This distress signal, basically saying that almost like saying the ship is being infiltrated, and you can hear kind of some rustling going on in the back of the ship. Now, you would know that these ships are equipped with sort of service droids, but in a pinch, those service droids can be used as a defense for the ship.
This is
And you've activated them.
absolutely wonderful. Saying I'd like to let you know that what you've just done is you've activated the ship's automated defense systems, and in a few moments we're going to be visited by the automatons that normally service the ship, but now are going to act as guardians.
So I'm gonna like rip open the console to the side and see if I can find the circuit that controls the intruder alert system and just like cut it out.
Yeah. All right. Since you're not all that great with computers, and you realize that that's typically a software type thing, not necessarily a hardware thing, I would say you'd have to probably make an assessment to figure out if that's even possible. If you want to do that, you can. What I will do, though, is I'm going to cut over to Yodel for just a minute. So, attempting to hack into this Marauder's ship, what specifically are you hoping to do? I mean, I know you want to get into their systems, but to what effect?
I want to get into the shuttle that's coming my way to turn it around to send it, hopefully, careening into the main ship.
Ah, okay, gotcha. Nice. And so you rolled a 12. So, yes, then I would say that you did that. Now, let me ask you this. Would you have used your AI? Like, would you have taken her sort of off the guns and done that, or are you doing this yourself?
No, I would have done it myself. I want her to stay on those guns.
Okay. So you have now essentially control over the autopilot navigation system of that shuttle.
Correct.
What do you want to do with it?
Take the shuttle and steer it into the main ship, into their main ship.
You're going to crash it into the mining ship?
No. Didn't you say that there's their main ship?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yep, no problem. Okay, that's more reasonable. Yeah, you're going to basically send it back to their ship and possibly crash it. All right, no problem. Yeah, so you start to do that. You all of a sudden see it go, and jerk, and then it kind of starts flying back. But this is one of those things where, like, it's fighting you the whole way. Like, they're trying, you can tell they're trying to get control back, but you're kind of countering that with your thing. Like, it's this fierce sort of hacking battle going on, and you're winning. So yeah, you manage to do that, and they see what's happening on the main ship, and the main ship is trying to veer away a little bit, but the grapple is still on. And so, all of a sudden, you guys are like jolted as the whole ship kind of just, moves. And so, you guys would fall to the ground, kind of off balance. You also hear this just loud, tremendous clanging from the back. You imagine that the droid suffered the same fate. And Larry, before that jolt happens, if you want to, you can resolve that move and see if you were able to access the systems and see if you could sort of mechanically disable it.
Okay, so is that just a face adversity?
Actually, you know what? I would say at this point, do assessment to sort of determine whether or not that's something that you can actually do mechanically, or whether it would have to be done electronically.
Okay, an assessment with what?
I would say probably expertise.
Okay. Man, I don't know what you're talking about. Dice Stream is very good to me.
Yeah, sometimes it is. 13. Yeah, so you realize basically at this point the simplest way to sort of shut down the automated defense systems would be to basically cut the power again, right? To like just, you know, and potentially you could open the airlocks and vent stuff into space if you needed.
That'll hurt us more than it'll hurt them.
Yeah. So there's not really any mechanical way to other than to break the system to.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to break that.
Well, yeah, but you can't break that particular system, is what I'm saying. You could either shut it down electronically, or you could try to disable the entire system, the entire ship system.
Okay. So there's no way to disable.
Not with, like, you know, bashing a wrench into something or whatever. No, like if you got on you could potentially override the ship's defense systems, but it would have to be, you know, with the computer,
okay.
not. Yeah.
So I guess I will try to do that then.
Okay. And before you have a chance to do that, the ship jolts and kind of knocks you on your ass for just a minute as it's sort of trying to be pulled.
Okay.
And you guys hear this loud sort of scraping, and then as the shuttle crashes into this Marauder ship, and it there's just this enormous crash. The ship is damaged, but it doesn't appear to have been critically damaged, but it's definitely hurting. However, the grapple arm is actually still attached, but the ship isn't actively pulling away anymore.
Sarah, open fire, baby, open fire.
So you're going to kind of position your ship so that it's facing the Marauder ship, and you're going to shoot at it?
Yep.
Alrighty. Yep, no problem. So she does that and fires at it, and it goes and explodes.
Y'all are welcome. Take your time down there. All's good up here. Now, if you need me, I'll be surfing porn.
And just as you do that, before we cut back to the mining ship, you notice that your sensors are starting to go crazy. Whatever was at the that extreme range, now there are a whole bunch of sort of signals, the same kind of unknown signals, but they appear to be a much, much, much smaller signature, right? And they just keep multiplying.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, we got a lot more folks out there. Hurry. No more porn. Hurry, hurry.
And did you guys still intend on accessing the captain's log? I can't remember.
We want to
helm first.
Yep.
We got our guy though, right? Have we caught up to him yet?
You mean the guy that was in there? Yeah, Larry basically knocked him out. He bull rushed him, and he kind of hit his head against so he's unconscious on the floor.
I'm gonna have so of my 3 people, Cochise is the biggest. I'm gonna have him basically kind of deadlift the guy and strap him over his shoulder and bring him along with us.
All right.
And have and then we have Ota kind of keep an eye on him to make sure he doesn't go crazy once he comes to.
Alrighty.
And we're just gonna head back towards the front of the hall. And I look over at Sung. I say, I appreciate the effort, but please don't touch the systems. You have to understand these are very, very particular systems to Amalgamated, and while I don't know everything, I do know probably a bit more than you do. No offense, okay?
While I'm desperately trying to stop the killer robots from invading us, yeah. You're not helping.
And yeah, the robots seem to basically, you realize too that these are not smart. So what they would likely do is open the sort of airlock door, right, to go into the access corridor, and they would probably get sucked out into because they're not that smart. They're service robots. So, and they've been jostled around and probably damaged because they weren't in the helm. They were in the cargo area. So to get to you guys, they would have to traverse that area that was open to space. So they're actually not much of a threat at this point. However, so I assume you go to access the captain's log. Is that right? Yep. Okay. So you access the captain's log, and this actually does reveal the first kind of, or starts to give you some answers. You realize that, you know, as the captain is detailing sort of the mundanities, right, of a mining mission, and then all of a sudden, you know, he says basically, and it goes from very formal to very casual, and the captain's basically saying that it's very strange, right? Like, he's just gotten these orders that this asteroid actually is housing something much more valuable to the company than just the ore, and that he's actually been tasked to stop collecting ore and to try to make his way around. And this is a huge asteroid that you're on, to make his way around to the other side and use the ship's scanners to see if they can pick up some kind of power signature. Apparently, there's some sort of object or some sort of thing on or in this asteroid that the company desperately wants. And he says that they started to do that, and then all it says is they're coming. And that's where it cuts off. So there was something else to this mission. He wasn't quite sure what it was, and then they got attacked.
Whatever that thing is that's inside this asteroid, whoever that is out there also knows that it's there, and they probably want it too. And whoever slaughtered everyone on the ship knew what was in here, and knew what was on this asteroid, and they wanted it too.
Yeah, that makes sense. And as that's happening, Yodel, you see actually kind of viewing the the Marauder ship that's just had their shuttle crash into them. You actually see several, probably about half a dozen figures now in vac suits or whatever, exiting the craft. Not heading towards the mining craft, but actually trying to make their way towards your vehicle. They're literally on the outside of the ship, trying to kind of board you, so to speak.
No. I got folks on our ship. Oh, man. Point defense weapons. Can they target something that close?
Not that small. That would be very, very difficult. They're more for like shooting, kind of large space debris out of the way.
Man, I need help. We got guys on our ship trying to get in our ship, and I'm in our ship. Hello. Anyone?
I'm not sure exactly what we can do for you.
Oh no.
So everybody over here is on the mining ship, right?
Right.
Yep.
Is there a way that he can do some kind of venting of the fusion core to flood the area with radiation and fry them or something like that? Somebody could talk him through?
I mean, sure, maybe. I would imagine there might be a risk to you guys as well, though. I don't know if the mining ship's hull would necessarily protect you from that.
Can we make some distance while he's figuring out how to do that?
Yeah, possibly. He could also just move. I
was just going to say, I'll be right back. I kick on the engines, and I want to start heading out 500, 1,000 clicks with a decent burn to hopefully knock these guys off the ship.
Okay. Yeah, and so they didn't actually get onto your ship. They were heading towards you. But yeah, you're like, fuck this, I'm out, right? And you're like, and you take off. And so, of course, you then see them, all right, well, he's leaving, bloop, and they start turning around and start heading towards the mining ship. It's actually a fairly sophisticated maneuver. I mean, they're connected with, similar to what you guys did. They're connected with a cable, and one of them has, little propulsion rockets, so they are now definitely heading towards the mining ship. This is standard Marauder, maneuver. They're raiders. They're coming to mess you up.
We got muscle. We can take them. But if we can avoid conflict and figure out what's going on with the ship, that is the most prudent thing. However, if we do need if we have to come to conflict, then we have the ability to take care of that.
Yep. And there's only about 6 of them. I mean, you've got, the 3 of you plus the 3, your 3 crew, so you're evenly matched anyway.
Is anyone else armed besides me and my crew?
I am, with a big ass laser.
Yeah.
All right.
And the rock jacker.
That's right. We got the rock jacker. I want to know what that is.
Yeah.
Is it like a jackhammer?
You'll see.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. So I'm gonna jump back to Yodel really quick, and then I'll come back to you guys. So,
okay.
Yodel, you're kind of moving away just to get out of here. You see what happens, so you maybe slow down a little bit. And Sarah is basically just jabbering in your ear at this point, telling you, these signatures are multiplying. There's like hundreds of these little signatures, and she says, I'm starting to pick up these strange readings. The scanners are picking up this major sort of event that seems to be happening. Something, whether it's a radiation signature or something big is about to happen. These things, these ships or whatever, do seem to be coming in your direction. They don't appear to be coming at full speed, almost as if they're sort of casual. But there's hundreds of them, so they're not really worried, so to speak.
That's one of them.
Yeah.
Whatever y'all are doing, you may want to hurry up. Those things are coming in. They ain't coming in fast, but there's hundreds of them coming in. I want to do the flip route so I can start heading back to the mining ship so that when they're ready to get out of there very soon, I'm there so that they can get on board the ship and we can get out of there.
It's starting to become clear to me maybe that the biggest value of this expedition is not this ship itself, but whatever it is that is on an asteroid. And it's possible that our guest here, and I pointed at the guy who's on Cochise's shoulder, maybe he knows something. Do you think we should head back to the ship and try to get back to the ship and maybe get this guy interrogated, figure out what he knows?
Man, nothing more valuable than information. Bring him. Get on. Let's go.
All right, so I think we should head back to the ship. We're gonna grab this guy, and we're gonna take him. We're gonna try to wake him up, and we're gonna get him back on the ship and talk to him. It doesn't seem there's anything of real value on this ship.
Yeah. Now, the only thing that you'll have to contend with is those marauders that have now entered the sort of breached area of the ship.
Oh.
It's a little murdering rapist between friends.
We might just have to brute force our way out of this one. Lady, gentlemen, are you ready? I'm looking at Larry and saying, unless, of course, you think that there's something else on this, you think that it's more prudent to stay on this ship.
I don't know. I don't know about prudent, but the ship itself is very valuable. I mean, I don't have a corporation pension waiting for me.
And also, there's like stuff from like the dead churchgoers that I might want to get hold on and bring back home.
Yeah, and you guys realize at this point that it's unlikely you don't have time to kind of salvage anything from the ship, because either you're going to be contending with these marauders or these incoming ships. You don't know what these incoming ships' agenda is. So you can certainly stick around and try to, get more stuff off this ship. And that was, the company did say, hey, if you can come back with the cargo, that'll be good. But you are facing those two obstacles.
But don't we have the ship started? Can it move under its own power?
Yeah. If somebody can fly it, absolutely.
I'm not the worst pilot in the world.
And Sang is a pilot.
And we've got Siang here.
Yeah. But remember that this ship doesn't have any jump access. And right now there are no ships. Like your ship isn't big enough to tow this ship with it, so there would have to be either like a little jump dock, or a larger sort of vessel that this thing would connect with that could pull it out. But you could certainly fly it. I mean, at least get it out of here if you wanted to.
I kind of have to weigh some things here because at one point the mission was, as you said, to bring the ship back, but it's become clear to us that whatever was on that asteroid is probably more valuable to the company than the ship itself. So I have to think as a company man what the consequence is going to be coming back with the ship without whatever is on the asteroid, or coming back with what's on the asteroid and potentially no ship. We also have to contend with the fact that even if we are able to move this ship, the Marauders are still on and they can come to us. And the fact that if the ship starts moving, perhaps all of those things out there might start moving too.
Yes, you do have to contend with that. And as you are thinking about that, the door to the helm opens, and 2 Marauders kind of pop in right there. So what are you guys going to do?
I'm going to... So, okay, I think, so where are they? So we're kind of looking towards the door where the helm is, correct? And they're kind of popping out right in front of us?
Yeah, and it's very cramped quarters at this point. I mean, there's basically 6, well, there's really, sort of 6.5 of you, right? There's, because you got Cochise with the guy on his shoulder, all in this helm area that's designed for 2 crew. And now you've got 2 Marauders standing sort of right in the door. They've kind of flanked on either end of the door, and you know that the other 4 are sort of back out in that corridor.
Are they armed?
Oh, yeah. They're armed, and they're not armed with firearms. They're armed with like these melee weapons. These crude kind of blades.
I think now would be an excellent time to introduce Calamity Jane, which is my shotgun.
Close quarters combat. And my team also has their larger military pistols that so I'm gonna guys, and they're just, except for Cochise, he really can't do anything because he's got this kind of short, but Lipton and Ota can both aim their guns at these 2 Marauders.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, are they kind of gonna try to maybe duck behind one of the chairs and kind of maneuver as best they can and fire at these guys, or are they just gonna kind of go at them? Get real close range and just fire?
I think they're going to... I think probably one of them is going to move forward and one is probably going to move back into a covered position.
All right. Why not? We'll do open fire then at this point. So why don't you go ahead and roll for them, and you'll roll plus your metal.
Okay, and my metal is +1. So am I doing 1 roll for both of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Come on, come on, come on, come on. A 4 and a 4, and that's 8. Plus my metal is a 9.
Okay. So.
I also mentioned that I was opening fire, so could I say that I'm getting involved with my metal?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say that's absolutely fine.
So I got an 8 plus my metal of 2 is a 10, so I'm going to upgrade his to a 10 also.
All right, excellent. So that brings it up to a full success. So you do win the fight against these 2. Why don't you describe sort of the opening salvo here?
All right. So, this is awesome. So the 2 are coming out. So Oda does this Oda kind of goes into attack attack stance, a firing stance, while Lipton kind of does this ninja roll back behind a a chair or some type of object, and then he kind of springs up, and they both kind of just start. They both do just this clean shot that just kind of hits both of the two guys, one from Ota and one from Lipton, that just kind of does it. And there's also then this extra blast that kind of like this scatter from Calamity Jane that just kind of hits both of them as well, and the walls, and they just kind of drop down. Dead.
Wow.
All right, yeah, and so actually, what I'll do, I'm just gonna retcon it just a little bit because the actions that you described are perfect. You know, your guys are firing, right, and they actually do happen to land a shot against the two guys that have stepped in. But I want to know actually how Larry finishes them off with Calamity Jane. But I'm gonna let Larry describe that since he got involved.
Well, I think he said, you know, they're pushing them back, and then the blast from Calamity Jane just comes in.
Blast them. Oh, okay.
Take them off at the head.
No problem. And so the bodies spill through the door, and as they do, you see kind of the one Marauder kind of peeks in for a minute, and then and then kind of they're staying out in the hallway there. They're not coming in just yet. But now you got these two dead bodies kind of right in front of the door.
Gross.
Are there other Marauders in the helm?
Yeah, you know that there's at least 4 more, not in the helm, but right beyond the door. Like they're in the area that you guys entered originally, that little access hatch.
And there's really no negotiating with Marauders, so we're gonna have to clean them out.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. They're not in the access hatch because the helm is directly connected to the area where the laser cutter device is. So, and then the access hatch is between that. But still, yeah, there's not any records of people being able to negotiate with Marauders.
Did the two that came in here, did they still have their helmets on?
Yes, they were all still in their vac suits, which are now damaged because they're dead and have holes in them.
And the systems are off right now, right? Because we shut them down.
Did you guys shut them down?
I thought that Larry was trying to activate the sentry bots.
Yeah, but I think he decided not.
Oh, okay, he decided not to. Okay.
I found out that I couldn't.
Right, without destroying the whole system, and which he decided not to do. Yeah.
So, but the other 4 Marauders are kind of hanging. They've seen what happened to their buddies, and they're hanging back right now.
Yeah, they're basically waiting for you guys to come out.
Then I come out.
Hang on a second. So I've got my engineering kit with me.
Yep.
So I'm gonna take, we know that we're bottled up, and walking out there is walking into a garbage disposal. So I'm gonna take a few minutes, and I'm gonna take some doodads and gadgets from my utility belt, and I'm going to make a makeshift stun grenade or stun round for my shotgun. I have an upgrade move, so I can make when I make a patch up, I can add another tag to an asset.
Okay.
I'm going to add the stun tag
feature. Okay, yeah, no problem. So you got to do patch up then, so it's roll plus expertise?
Yes.
Okay.
Quick question, where are the security bots?
The security bots were in the cargo area. Well, they weren't security bots, right? But they were service bots. But yeah, they were in the cargo area. So, and they got kind of jostled and disabled as the ship kind of you know.
Oh, so they are disabled.
Yeah, they're not a threat at this point. And we also realized that they're not smart enough to realize that they would have to go through the access hatch that was open to space, so they would have got sucked out.
Okay.
So I actually changed my mind. I think I'm looking for an area of effect. So I think I'm gonna have to add the launcher. So I'm gonna stuff a little tiny explosive like a mining charge to the end of it, and lob it out into that outer control room. Hopefully, just to distract them long enough that we can get out there and not be cut to pieces.
Okay.
Okay. So patching up, and that is an 11. So that was a success.
Yeah.
So I think I'm launching an assault with a rifle grenade. Who's coming with me?
Yeah, let's do it. So are you gonna fire the grenade and then charge through the door, essentially, like
I want to be right up,
flashbang, like SWAT style?
Exactly.
Yeah. Alrighty.
So hopefully I'm not alone in that. It'd be nice.
Yeah. So you kind of
Nope.
fix up your shotgun to fire this this round, and now let's see if you can fire it successfully while on the run, beyond the corridor.
So do you want to do this all as one launch assault, or do you want me to do a face adversity first?
No, go ahead and do it. Well, because I imagine launch assault. Well, actually, no, you're right. Yeah, let's do a face adversity first, because you're kind of just taking one action to lob that out into the corridor.
Okay, so would that be metal or?
Yep.
Okay. Ooh, okay. So that sucks. So that's a 5.
So, what's the damage that your device deals there?
It's a firearm. So
okay. All right. Yeah.
Damage.
So, you guys all take that damage as it kind of and bounces off the door, as in your shot didn't go through, and actually deals you guys, what is that, just a major injury?
No, it's severe. It's a firearm.
Oh, it's a firearm. Oh, shit. All right. So, yeah, you take a severe.
Okay. So I'll brace for impact.
All righty.
5-7, which is severe damage. Okay.
Yep. So, yeah, you guys can all brace for impact.
All right, I'm rolling for brace for impact.
Yep, and then you add your armor.
I think at a 10 plus 3, that's 13.
All right. So what is that? Does that reduce it twice, or?
I believe.
When you would suffer harm from the severity is reduced by 2. Nice.
Yeah. Sorry, what is that again?
So I believe, what is that, minor damage? I forget what it's called.
Yep, you got a cut pinky.
Yeah, pretty much. You were managed to duck out of the way. Yeah, so it's just a minor damage. So you just rate minor down on your injury.
All right, got it.
Yeah, your vac suit is intact, although you guys have atmosphere in here, so you're fine. But yeah, and then what did you get for your brace for impact? Oh, alrighty. So yeah. So why don't you describe to me, since this grenade basically bounced off and just kind of detonated in the facility that you're in, damaging the equipment and whatever. Describe the scene for me. What does it look like? And how do you feel, obviously? Oh, I think you're muted.
When the grenade kind of is supposed to be going towards this corridor here, it just kind of barely nicks it and bounces back, and there's this huge kind of flash, and shrapnel starts flying places and hitting walls, and there are electrical sparks from all of the equipment that's getting hit, and there's a cable there, and one of these cables kind of gets severed, and it kind of smacks me, and I've kind of knocked down, and I've been kind of electrocuted here, and I just kind of fall to the ground.
Yep, ditto.
I think you're on mute.
Oh, thanks. Sorry. Seeing since you gotta love playing over Google Hangouts. Since
Oh, yeah.
you were basically unaffected by this thing, you kind of ducked behind the cover and not much happened. What would you like to do? How do you react to this situation? Seeing your two companions basically down on the ground, pretty severely injured.
And the guys are still just out there, and now they know that there's an explosion like right behind them and
Yep.
attacking. All right. And the crew, the other like 3 guards are still okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've all been kind of damaged as well. Everybody, pretty much, with the exception of you. You managed to duck behind enough cover to miss most of the shrapnel. Everybody else pretty much took it full on.
All right. From like a crowd of shrapnel, I take a pellet off my back, screw off the cap, and show you the rock jacker.
All right. And are you just gonna wait, or are you gonna jump out into the hallway and try to engage
Uh,
the Marauders that are in there?
jump, because you guys are out there, or you guys are in here with me. I don't want you to get like further hurt.
All right, excellent.
That's how signing rolls.
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and describe kind of what that's going to look like what your assault action is going to be and how it looks, and then we'll roll.
All right. So yeah, unscrew the cap. Doors open. I come out using this big, like, kind of like a battering ram. Like we can't really see the rest. Oh, cool. And I just like swing and like turn on this device. And what it is it is like a jackhammer. But it's like 3 jackhammers as like a minigun. It's like a rotating like jackhammer with like 3 barrels, except those barrels are like jacks, and they're pumping like constantly. I'm just swinging it about.
Okay. And do they fire projectiles, or is it just like a piston almost?
Like a piston, yeah.
Okay, so it's a melee weapon. Alrighty.
Yeah.
Ooh, damn, that's brutal. Alrighty, yeah. So go ahead and roll your launch assault. So plus physique.
Yeah. Those asteroids are tough, man.
Yeah, man.
Let's see. As a 3 and a 4 plus 2, that's a 7.
Okay, so you do succeed. Let's see. However, and what does that normally deal? Is that major damage?
That's a 9.
It's a 9. Well, all right.
Okay.
So still, yeah.
It's a melee weapon. It ignores armor. It's
so major.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. So what happens is, yes, you manage to get in there, and you're like, right, and you're just wrecking these guys. And what happens is you take out the 3 of them that are still there, and the last guy, you're basically like chasing him down, right? And just as he, just as you sort of get to him and you blast him, he opens the door, and he like kind of gets sucked out the door as he's opened the door into the area that's now subject to vacuum, and you basically would have to. I'm going to have you make a. Actually, I'm not going to have you make a face adversity. You get sucked out there as well. Now you're in the suit, so you're not you're not going to like die, but you're in this corridor now in 0G. And before you can react to that, Yodel, you're seeing all this happen on the cameras. What do you do?
My initial thought was going to be to turn off the gravity to help our guys and not theirs, but that won't really do much at this moment, seeing as the only person who's actually in pursuit is also in 0G. So the Marauder ship gone, shuttle gone. So the only Marauders are the ones that are in the ship now, correct?
Yeah, and they're pretty much defeated at this point.
I'm going to start moving our ship closer so that our guys can get on board and we can DD out of here. What are the hundreds of, or 100, I don't want to give you ideas, of signals that are out there? What are they doing?
They are steadily getting closer.
Okay. I start moving this ship closer. Guys, let's go. We got to go, because they ain't going.
And
one of my guys is going to have to pick me up because I'm just kind of basically lying there incapacitated at this point.
So I'm going to try and administer emergency first aid on myself and Ito.
okay.
The one other thing I'm doing, Sam,
Yep.
I'm assuming the ship's got cameras, our ship.
Cameras, yeah.
All right. I want to start recording the Marauder in front of us, the shuttle debris, the sides of the ship. Zoom in on the whole nine. Try and gather as much information as possible.
Yeah, basically just record everything that you can to kind of show. Okay, yeah, no problem. Now, can anybody perform first aid, emergency first aid?
Yeah.
Like Larry, okay. And you have some sort of like first aid kit with you, Larry?
I don't know that first aid kit is required. I can't do surgery, so you have to have a medical kit to do surgery.
Mm-hmm.
First aid is a basic move.
So okay, but so like what are you doing? Just kind of like maybe you pop a stem or something, and you kind of just.
I mean, rip off part of my jacket and make I just stop the bleeding.
Okay.
All
right.
For shock, that sort of thing.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. No problem.
Here, all I can do is stabilize it. I can treat it so it doesn't get worse.
Right. Right.
Okay. So I've got a giant. My face is all ripped up because it exploded right in my face. So okay. Sweet. Okay.
Ooh. Ouch. So. Yeah, the best that you guys could do at this point would be just hobble out of here. The survivor that you guys had found, he's dead. He took shrapnel right into the neck. He's done, which is fine because Cochise is so injured at this point that he couldn't carry him anyway. So, at this point, the best you guys can do, like I said, is kind of hobble over to where you guys came in originally.
Sam, one other thing while I'm sitting on the ship, I want to start dumping all the logs to the Sidonia.
Okay. Absolutely. Yep, that's fine. You can do that. You've accessed the systems at this point, so you're transferring the data. No problem. And as you're doing that, again, Sarah's like, oh my, something is happening, and you can start to see it, right? Like you kind of glance out of your viewports for a minute, and you see something off in the distance. Like it almost looks like space is starting to ripple, right? Like some anomaly is happening here.
Yo, I don't know what it is, but it ain't good. Get your butts on the ship because this ship is leaving.
So somebody's going to have to drag me out because I'm pretty certain I'm incapacitated at this point. I didn't have any armor, so.
Well, no, I would say at this point, I mean, you're severely injured, but you're not to the point necessarily that you're unconscious. You'd be able to.
Suits.
Okay.
We have breached suits.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
We can't leave. Unless we find a way to repair them or replace them, we can't leave.
What if I...
You can. You just can't stay in the vacuum that long. You've got 30, 45 seconds or so.
A healthy person does, but a person with holes in them...
Good point. All right.
Just lose all our blood.
And so... if you were to relay that over the comms, you could certainly do that. And Yodo, you obviously do have access to the shuttle. You could bring it right up next to the ship if you wanted to, but I don't know. Yeah, you guys are right. That may not be what you want to do. Potentially, too, there could be other vac suits within the within the ship because nobody was wearing them, just that one guy.
Are y'all near one of the actual air docks?
Yeah, can we just dock the Sidonia to the mining ship?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we're doing.
Right, and we're gonna just kind of hobble ourselves.
Tail firmly between legs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I help him out?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You guys don't need to roll or anything. Yeah, you guys basically just hobble over, and the ship kind of goes like almost belly to belly with the mining ship. The docking ports connect, and the there's like a vacuum seal in there, and the airlock doors open, and you see your companions all bloody and stumbling, bleeding all over the ship. You kind of make their way back in.
Get in, sit down, zip up, let's go.
And as you guys enter the ship...
Actually, hold on a second. Time out. 1 second. Everybody mark XP. I'm advancing my industrial career, and my trigger is an explosion alters the situation.
All right.
Darn, that's awesome.
Yeah, wow, huh.
Well, and another one, system security is breached.
Yeah.
Let me see. I know mine was a subject is thoroughly analyzed. Did we thoroughly analyze anything?
I did.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So 3 XP. You guys have 3 skills, I believe.
Yes.
So at the end of this adventure, I believe you would level up. Is that right? Or do you need 1 more than?
No, you start with 4, though. You get 3 from your careers and 1 from your background. So you have to have 4 experience for your first advance.
Right.
Damn.
Okay. Huh.
All right. However, as... Ooh, interesting. As you enter the ship and the airlock closes behind you and you disembark from the mining ship, the whole ship just kind of rocks. And for a minute, you guys are it's almost as if like time goes out of phase, right? Like you guys are standing there just looking at each other, but everything is like moving in slow motion for a minute. And then all of a sudden you kind of snap back into, present time, and you almost as if like a supernatural force, your vision is drawn to the viewports outside, and you see this enormous spatial anomaly just kind of blossom as this like wormhole opens up in front of you guys. Now it's still far off in the distance, but it's huge, and out of this wormhole starts pouring out these ships, these huge ships, ship designs you've never ever seen before. They're coming in by the hundreds, and as that's happening...
Dan, you officially suck introducing this as a one-off, okay?
So,
for the record.
So, with that being said, what are you going to do? And those little ships now, I mean, they're clearly fighter aircraft. They're still coming at you.
Who's the pilot here?
I am.
Sang is the pilot.
I get on the
Jump.
radio and be the first to greet our alien overlords.
Jump. Welcome our new extraterrestrial or alien overlords.
Yeah.
I will.
So you gonna make a wild jump?
Yeah, I'm with House of Pain over there. I'm gonna jump.
All right, do it. So what do we get to do? What's a wild jump? You just do a 2d6, I think, right?
Yeah, it's plus nothing.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So this is sort of where we're gonna end it. But go ahead and make that jump for me, because I want to see what's gonna happen.
You suck.
I know.
And sign says, and we sign off to the core worlds. 6.
Ooh.
Do you have any skill that... Wait a minute. I'm
There's
jacked into the ship. How can I assist?
Well,
I mean, you could make. I would imagine you could make a get involved using interface to kind of help plot the nav, system, the Navicomputer or whatever.
Yeah, because I don't have it in front of me. What's the result of rolling a 6 on a wild jump?
There's no results on 6s. It's always just a failure, and the GM gets to do something bad to us.
Mm-hmm. So you might as well try, because you can't make it any worse, and at least getting a partial success will be helpful.
It can make it worse. You could get another 6.
So
That's
it's
true.
interface plus whatever the die is.
Yeah.
12.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So let me see. Yeah, so you turn a failure into a partial success. So that's good. All right, so you jump, and as you jump, you get that just sickening feeling, right? As almost like you're being pulled, like this hook in your belly button, just reaching from the back, just pulling you, and you also just start to retch right as you come out of it. Like everything is, you just feel wretched. The guys who are injured, you guys pass out. Like you cannot take it. You pass out. But when you come to, Yodel, you kind of are the first to come back into consciousness, sort of, or to get over your nausea, and you look out. And before you, you're looking at this giant star. And your system, your scanner system, it's not registering it, right? This is not a recognized star in any of the databases that you guys have access to. And that is where we're going to leave off for today. So you have successfully evaded these ships that you've never seen before. You were technically successful in your mission. However, you had to wild jump, and because you weren't completely successful, you are now in a region of space unfamiliar to you. So what I'm going to let you guys do is kind of each one by one, as you come to or whatever, I'm going to let you react to this situation and do whatever sign-off you want to do. And then I will end the broadcast. So because, I guess because Sieng was our pilot and was the one who actually jumped, we'll start with you. You come to and you realize this situation. So go ahead and describe your sort of ending scene.
I look at this new unfamiliar. Sieng looks at this new unfamiliar star, and is at first like horrified and frightened, actually in the sort of state of awe. But there's like a tinge of like tranquil calm as she knows that since we're close to the star, we're close to like inter-system planets, and we're close to the core spirit. So we're home no matter where we are.
All right, excellent. And Larry, as you come to and you realize the situation that you guys are in, how do you react?
So we're in an entirely different star system now?
You don't know. All you know is that you're seeing this large star in front of you, and the scanners are not recognizing it as anything within the Colonial or UN database.
Right?
What's that?
We're seeing a star that's not the sun?
Right, yeah.
Different star system.
Yeah, potentially.
Something that the jump drive couldn't do. So I'm tearing apart the jump drive, trying to figure out what the hell happened to it that made it do something that it impossible for it to do. Like what happened? Well, I'm going through the power logs to see was there some kind of weird was that wormhole affecting us somehow or another? What it was that caused this? I don't believe in all this hoodoo mumbo jumbo core spirit garbage. There is a plausible explanation, and I'm going to find it and patent it and make millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Nice. So you're all business then, trying to figure out what's going on. Alrighty. Sounds good. Ito.
Well, I'm all banged up, and my crew is all banged up, and we don't have the ship, and I'm looking around at all this, and I said to everyone, well, the company's not going to be happy about this at all.
Nice. And Yodel, why don't you go ahead and describe both what you and what your AI are feeling about this situation right now?
Funny you say that. I turn to Sarah and say, baby, shout it from the mountaintops. We ain't in Kansas anymore.
Nice. Yeah, and as you kind of you kind of scan this star system, your scanner, and especially with the engineering, background of your crew and all that, you guys realize that this star, while it's larger than Earth, the gravity would be pretty heavy. There's an atmosphere, and you're picking up water and foliage and stuff on the planet. So potentially you could go on
It's a planet.
Yes.
I think. Oh, I was thinking it was a star.
Yeah, that's what you
Star.
said.
Yeah. Well, a planet is a star. Well, and at first, it's this huge interstellar body. You now recognize it as a potentially habitable planet.
So it's not a star.
Well, right. It's not like a gas giant or anything like that. Yeah.
No, a star is a star. It's like the sun is a star. Earth is a planet.
Okay. Yeah. It's a
Piss
planet.
off the GM. That's the good way.
Well, he can't do anything to us now. It's over.
It is a planet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you realize that you could probably enter the atmosphere, but that is where we're going to end it for now. So
What a
I will.
tease.
I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too.
This is great.
Oh yeah.
Debut of Uncharted World. So anybody who's watching, check it out. I'm going to stop the broadcast, probably chat with these guys a little bit, and that was it. So this is Sam signing off.